continue filming over there. Hey, this is David Coder with Doggone Problems, and this is the company video that we're going to send out to everyone who's taking our Fear of Fireworks class for dogs. Now, dogs develop fear of fireworks for pretty obvious reasons, but a lot of people don't realize that sight, sound, and smell are actually different elements. And in this class, what we're going to go over, well, in this video, as well as the class that you've already taken, we're going to go over how to desensitize your dog and use the principles of counterconditioning to help your dog no longer fear the sight, sound, or smell of fireworks. In this video, we're going to show you how to deliver the treat and when to deliver the treat, as well as break down each one of those three individual elements. So the first one we're going to work on is going to be the sound of firecrackers going off. Now, in order to do this, what you want to do is just go to the Apple Store or anywhere where you get you sound recordings and videos and all that fun stuff. Search for fireworks sounds. It's an audio recording. You might have to search for a couple different elements, but you want to find one. There's different types. There's the firecrackers, there's the big booms. If your dog is particularly reactive to one of those, then pick whichever one your dog is reactive to. If your dog's reactive to all of them, then pick all of them, and you're going to want to practice all of them individually. Okay, when you're actually going to be practicing these exercises, you want to be delivering a high-value reinforcer. In this case, we're going to use chicken liver. And these are the Tricky Trainer chicken liver. If you take the class with us, you're going to be getting a bag of these at the class. Now, these have almost no preservatives in them, which is why they work so great. You can see she's very interested in the smell of it. Now, if you leave the bag open, they will be hardened in about half an hour, so make sure you burp all the air out of the bag and fold it and zip it closed every time you open it and take the treats out. What I'm doing is I'm going to take one of the treats, I'm putting my fingers in the flat part of the treat, and I'm smashing it so it looks like a pancake. All right, so what I'm going to do now, and the idea for this is we want to be able to control how the dog accesses the treat. We want them to get this treat in about 3 or 4 nibbles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the dog chew on it, and I'm releasing a little bit of it in each chew. Now, if you have a dog with a hard mouth, this is going to be a little bit more challenging for you. You probably need to hire us to do an in-home session. Now, for this, when we're doing the first one, we're going to be doing sound of fireworks. It doesn't really matter which direction the dog is looking. However, the nice thing about this delivery method is you can use it to actually change how the dog looks. You want to change which direction you're having him go, up or down or to the side. Now, if your dog paws out like that, that's okay. Now, when we're doing the sight, I like to use my hand, and I'm going to hold the treat like this in the OK sign, but I'm going to hold these 3 fingers underneath the dog's chin like this. I don't want to be holding like this because I'm going to block the dog's visual acuity. So I want them to be able to see whatever I'm pointing at. And when we're doing the actual visual of fireworks that are a visual that we're helping the dog get over, we want the dog to be looking directly at it. So when you're doing it, I see this a lot of times where people are holding the treat in such a way where they're holding the dog's looking down there when it should be looking over here. So sometimes you might need to have somebody cheat and be right behind you looking the same direction your dog to make sure your dog's looking in that same direction. And make sure you don't use your hand to block and obscure the dog's vision. If you happen to have a smaller dog like Max, it's basically the same situation. Squish the treat, and again, hold it so the dog is looking in whatever direction we want. It's basically the same principle. I prefer to be down on the ground in a kneeling position. I just find this a little bit closer proximity to the dog, helps the dog pay a little bit closer attention to you. Okay, the first element that we're going to practice is the sound of fireworks. Now, I've got an MP3 that's got sounds of bottle rockets, so they have a bit of the scream and then the retort at the end. Now, if your dog is reactive to just firecrackers or just big booms, pick whatever thing your dog is reactive to, and some dogs need to be practiced for all of them. Now, when we're doing this, we want to be delivering the high-value reinforcer before the stimulus starts. In this case, the stimulus is the sound of the fireworks. You want to start off with the lowest volume possible with your dog not moving away. My 2 tests: can the dog stay in a sit and it is continue taking the treat? If it stops taking the treat or wants to get up out of a sit, it's too intense. So you want to increase the distance, or in this case, lower the volume. We want to decrease the intensity of the stimulus. In this case, we're going to do it by decreasing the volume. I've got the volume set with what I think should be appropriate. We're going to go ahead and get started. Go ahead and press play. So I'm going to let Callie start chewing on this. Have a bunch of treats ready to go, and don't fumble them like that. So you hear this one starts off with a single bang and then goes to a whole bunch of bangs. Go ahead and turn the volume up a little bit. Now the idea is you want to practice this a couple of times a day, every day. Each time you practice it, you're going to raise the volume up a little bit higher. But you don't want the dog to be panicked. If the dog is panicked, then you've pushed too far, too fast. Go at your dog's pace. If your dog panics and it's too much, your dog stops nibbling the treats or wants to move away, turn the volume down a little bit. Give your dog, well, first of all, pause. Give your dog a chance to take a break. If it moves away like that, stop the recording. And then give your dog a chance to kind of resettle itself. And then when you come back, play it a couple volume measures lower. And the idea is keep on playing it each time a little bit louder as long as your dog can tolerate it until you get to the point where it sounds like real fireworks are going off in your house. Now you have desensitized your dog for the sound of fireworks. All right, we transitioned outside because it's obviously not probably a smart idea to do smoke in the house. Now, when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're going to need a smoke bomb or several smoke bombs. I've got a minute-long smoke bomb. They're hard to get. You're just going to have the little ones that are a couple seconds. That's actually probably a little bit better for this sort of exercise. Now, what you want to do is position the person who's going to light the smoke bomb upwind of wherever the dog is going to be. We don't want we want the smoke to wave towards the dog, not obviously away from the dog. Now, you want to start as far away as your dog needs to start before your dog, so it doesn't panic. Now, the smell of sulfur is very distinct, and it's what most dogs react to with fireworks. Scent is the dominant sense for dogs, so this is a really important one. We do it second because the sound of it is just easy, and it's something you can do at home inside the house. I'm kneeling on this because I want to be close proximity to the dog. Go ahead and light it. So it's lit. She doesn't like the sound of the wick going. And I'm going to go ahead and deliver this. Callie. Now, if your dog stops taking the treats, you might need to, instead of squishing him, just deliver him like we are now. So it's not a super windy day, so the wind's kind of wafting all over the place, but it's the smell of sulfur. And all I want the dog to do is just not run away or want to move away. Now, in this case, you see Callie is not sitting. It's okay at this stage if they want to stand. You just want to make sure you're delivering the treats, and what we're doing is we're associating the smell of the treat, or the smell of sulfur, with the taste of the treat. And so, again, you want to be very liberal with your application of these treats. As you see, I'm pretty much putting them in her mouth as quickly as she can chew them up, and that's the whole point. We want this to be a pleasurable experience. Now, at first you're going to do this where we're probably about 20 feet away from where the smoke bomb is. Eventually you want to get a little bit closer and a little bit closer until you can do it where the smoke is just right there. Now, we're getting good smoke in this video. Hopefully this is like our special effects budget has been blown for this one. But the idea is, again, she's more interested in the treats and she's not bothered by the smell of the sulfur. So you want to practice this, keep on going at your dog's pace and get closer and closer until you can do it where it's pretty close. About 2 or 3 feet away. Now, one last little thing, the lighting of the wick, that sizzling sound, is similar to a sound that a snake makes, and dogs are programmed to respond to that a hissing sound and want to move away. So you might need to do the same sound that we did in the previous segment where we went over the sound of a fireworks going, but in this case, the sound of a wick burning. So if your dog is reacting and that sizzle makes the dog move away, help practice on the sound of that first, and then come back to practicing on just the smell. Okay, this is the last segment where you want to teach your dog to see the visual of a firework. Now in this one we have little, I don't know what they're called, they're little ones that do spins and they have a little bit of a sound. Now we're doing this in the middle of daylight. Sometimes dogs, it's a little bit better to do this a little bit closer to dusk so the dog can actually see it. Now if your dog is really reactive to those lights, then doing it actually at this time of the day would be helpful because they're going to be a little bit less intense. Like I said, throughout this, whenever you're working with your dog and your dog shows you that it's too much for them, they want to move away, you need to lower the intensity. So you want to increase the distance, lower the volume, or well, in terms of what we're doing, those are the two things we're going to do. Sit. Now in this one, it's important that your dog is looking at the fireworks. So in that one, the retort was a little bit strong for Callie and she wanted to move away. If your dog wants to move away, try to let them do it safely. So you might want to have a longer leash if the dog needs to move away. Okay, now you know how to desensitize your dog to the sight, sound, and smell of fireworks using the principles of counterconditioning. Now remember, when you're doing this, to go at your dog's pace. If your dog moves away or doesn't want to take the treat, it's saying it's too close or it's too intense. So find a way to increase the distance or lower the volume. It's important that the dog has a good experience for this, so if the dog gets frustrated or you get frustrated, stop, take a break, and come back and practice it later. Now I'd like you to be practicing these in shorter than 2-minute intervals. Dogs get fatigued and we don't want them to be overwhelmed and have a negative experience. So 1 to 2 minutes. And after that, if you can, try to help work in a little game of fetch, a belly rub for your dog, or something pleasant so your dog enjoys it. Let your dog have some time to relax before you come back and practice it again. When you're practicing this, make sure you practice in different locations throughout your house. The indoor stuff, do it in different rooms. The outdoor stuff, do it in front yard, backyard, different parts of the yard. And sometimes people do it at public parks. Remember, with fireworks, you can only really do those about a week before the holiday. But the idea for this is you really want to practice the heck out of this until before your neighbors are going to be starting to shoot off fireworks. And once your neighbors start shooting off fireworks, that's going to make it much more difficult for your dog to process this and practice. So the further away you are from the 4th, the more you should be practicing this. Again, practice it 5 times a day or more. The more you practice, the faster your dog will get it. All right, thanks for participating in our Fear of Fireworks class, and hope this video is helpful for you. If you have any other questions or need some dog training tips or suggestions, don't be afraid to go to doggoneproblems.com. And remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.